What's up, NintenBros? Today we're talking about Geometry Dash and why and how a port on the Nintendo Switch could possibly work. For context, GD is a tough-as-nails musical autorunner platformer available on Steam and mobile devices. Since its release in 2013, the game has built an incredibly dedicated community that constantly pushes the boundaries of the human limit. Both the developer and the fanbase have heavy overlap with the Nintendo community, and we felt that it was important to return the love by making a GD video on our Nintendo-centric channel. So without further ado, let's get into why Geometry Dash is the perfect game that needs to be ported to the Switch. Throughout the years, Geometry Dash has continued to remain a monumentally impactful game, dominating the mobile game market with simple controls and addictive gameplay, while also remaining deep enough to achieve success as a PC release. However, with the potentially game-changing 2.2 update having been more than 5 years in development as of March 2023, we fear that even finally releasing it won't be enough to rekindle life into the game. The impressively talented community, sick of waiting for the official thing, have already created a publicly available version of 2.2 with all the promised features programmed in. With GDPS being surprisingly stable even in these beta stages, YouTubers have already begun farming 2.2 content, which thus reduces the impact the official update will have when it actually does come. Nothing against RobTop, but something needs to be done to bring in new audiences and heighten modern relevance to even higher peaks to preserve the game's overall health. A solution to this predicament that we'd suggest is that the Nintendo Switch serve as a new platform for GD to settle on. Compared to the other major consoles, the certain feel to a Nintendo game fits Geometry Dash to a T. Games that focus much more on level-to-level gameplay, intuitive controls, and overall game feel fit right at home on Nintendo's line of systems. GD doesn't focus on cutting-edge realistic graphics or cutscene-centric storytelling, instead passing the Nintendo Synergy test with flying colors. It also ticks the boxes of having a banger OST and a uniquely timeless art style, all stacking up high to form this ultimate conclusion. Geometry Dash needs to be on the Nintendo Switch, and would be a major missed opportunity if not ported over. Now, how would the game function on the hybrid form factor of the Switch? Well, not only do we think that it would work absolutely flawlessly, but would also be the definitive version that seamlessly bridges the Steam and mobile community together. In terms of frame rate and resolution, it should be perfectly stable. The Cocos engine that RobTop used to create the game does indeed support Switch, and with some effort, the game will survive the transition to console intact. The simplistic visuals and rather low storage requirements should make a very competent experience, maybe with the exception of community levels with mind-bogglingly large object counts. GD could cost $5 on the eShop like Among Us, and be well worth the price with the content that it'll bring. But more on that later. The Switch is a goldmine of potential, and with other mobile ports like Asphalt 9 Legends gaining quite some traction, GD will do just fine. Besides, with one of the biggest install bases of any console ever, this could be the perfect opportunity to introduce new audiences with a style incredibly familiar to what fans expect out of the Nintendo exclusives. Who knows, maybe the game could even receive a big enough overhaul to be promoted in a Nintendo Direct or Indie World presentation. That'd get the moolah coming in. After establishing that GD definitely works as a concept, we need to know exactly how it'll work. Let's start with the Level Creator, a tool that has essentially evolved into a game engine unto itself. And without a doubt, a Switch port would make the building process as smooth as possible. The multitude of options is key here, allowing the player to build however they like, regardless of where they are. When on the go, the touch and button control should suffice, similar to how Super Mario Maker 2 carried out level construction. And speaking of button controls, let's dive deeper into those. The current GD Steam controller mapping does require some work in this regard, but it should be possible to rework. Collapsible menus and a redesign would be essential to make the editor much easier to navigate and understand, so we've got a little mock-up here. Now that the editor is getting even more unbelievably complicated in 2.2, it'll be necessary sooner than later to redesign a system that is user-friendly for all platforms. And coming back again to building styles, when on the TV, multiple options still remain. The keyboard and mouse could be used through the USB ports on the Switch dock for a more conventional PC setup, or one can simply just continue with the standard Joy-Cons or a Pro Controller. Maybe some co-op editing would be a fun feature in this regard, and would make split-screen or online collaborative levels so much more efficient and enjoyable. And don't even get me started on playing levels, where the Switch far outclasses any other device in potential. Still being able to touch the screen while also having the option for tactile button input lets people find their preferences and swap on the fly. The new 2.2 platformer mode would also work perfectly with analog sticks or the D-pad, making the Switch version a solid platform for 2.2 speedrunning. But enough about controls, now it's time to play. The official levels will always be available to play regardless of internet, giving anyone the chance to sneak in a few attempts with those precious free moments. Also, just tacking on official ad-free ways to play GD Meltdown, World, and Sub-Zero would really justify the value of games on an eShop full of shovelware. And who could forget about two-player mode? It would work like a charm, with singular Joy-Cons being a perfect way to split up balanced control without hogging one side of the touchscreen or keyboard. challenge and versus mode could also work quite well in split screen, and cause absolute chaos to ensue at parties when folks compete to try to beat the latest top 1 extreme demon. Wouldn't that be fun? In order to guarantee the game's success, the game needs to continue to have independent servers separate from Nintendo Switch Online like Fortnite or Fall Guys, with levels downloadable and uploadable cross-platform for free. And if the game eventually gets launched on Switch included with 2.2, that'll shoot up the demand just a little more. And just to sweeten the pot even further, new Nintendo licensed icons would be fantastic. If the deal works out well, perhaps we may even get seasonal official Nintendo levels with remixes of some iconic Nintendo soundtracks. With all this wishful thinking, who knows, maybe the Geometry Dash icon would eventually receive a crossover in Super Smash Bros. As an assist trophy, staged with the official OST, or even a character based on platformer mode and level editor elements. In the end, that's why we believe Geometry Dash is a perfect port that needs to come to the Nintendo Switch. All of this is pure speculation, and obviously this would be a huge task for the already overwhelmed RobTop, so I don't think that anyone can expect it happening anytime soon. Still, it's fun to imagine the ridiculous possibilities in store for this masterpiece of a game, and with the developer being quite open to feedback, there's always a chance in the far future. Besides, Geometry Dash has and will always be a great game that deserves bigger audience and admiration. In fact, my brother, UltraOAS, still enjoys the game to this day and built up his editing skills for this channel through his former GD one. We've come full circle with both Nintendo games and Geometry Dash content, and dream to see the crossover eventually happen. Until then, we all wait for 2.2. Love life, have fun, and stay safe. Peace!